What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for some more content for you guys today, and what we're going to be doing is looking at the entire Tottenham squad and seeing whether we should keep, loan, bench or sell. Obviously, if we give our real thoughts, it's going to be a lot of work to do in January, so I think that...
Is it just for January or in general?
That's what I'm saying. I think we should do it in general, because now we're in January. January stuff is very flavour of the month, but I think that we should be looking at what we want to do in general, maybe where we want to see the squad by the start of next season, let's say. So let's get straight into it, and let's start off with Hugo Lloris. Coming to the end of his career, just retired from the international stage as well with France. And I think it's a bench job, to be honest. I'd be happy for him to stay one more season till the end of his contract and keep him on the bench.
Yeah, he's retired now from international football. That's signaling I think he realised as he's coming to an end. It's no secret that more and more mistakes are starting to get into his game now, costing us a few points. I still think he's playing at a fairly good level for me in terms of goalkeeping, but I think we need to start looking at his long-term successor. So for me, yeah, on the bench.
All right, so Hugo Lloris is going to be, well, hopefully on the bench next season. Let's keep moving on and let's go to Matt Doherty, which is an interesting one. Probably our best performing right back this season, or right wing back this season. We do need better than him, in my opinion. So I think it's another bench job for me.
Yeah, I'm undecided whether bench or just sell and get another one and maybe, have two right backs in. I think he can be quite effective in his wing back role, and he's shown that under Conte, the number of games he's getting goals and assists in. So you've got to give him credit for that. And to be fair, the times where he struggled, obviously the beginning of this season where he had come back from an injury last season, hadn't really settled into Conte's squad yet, but you've seen when he's like fully there in the Conte system, he can be quite effective. But I don't know if he's ever going to be exactly what we need in this system. So that's why I feel like maybe sell. But I'm happy for him to be on the bench, but I don't think he should be a regular starter.
The reason I say bench is I think ideally we do want to sell him, and we do want to bring in two better right wing backs into the squad. But I think with other right wing backs that we probably want to push out the door before him, I think there's a lot of work to do. So I think that ideally sell, but I'd be happy to see him on the bench next season.
I'll put him on the bench.
All right, Matt Doherty on the bench. Let's move on to our next player, and that is going to be Ollie Skipp. This is going to be a really interesting one. Obviously, with the players that we have with Basuma, Sarr coming through, Bentancur, Højbjerg, how much of a look-in is Skipp going to get for the remainder of this season and next season? I'm not sure it's going to be too much. I really like him as a player, and I think he's got a big future at Spurs. Maybe for next season it might be valuable sending him out on loan to a Premier League club.
I remember we had this discussion in the summer when there were rumours about him going on loan. We were like, no chance Skipp's going on loan. He's going to definitely be part of the first team. I can't wait to see him back in action. But unfortunately, as the season's gone on, he's a limited game time. When he has had the game time, he hasn't really been up to the same standards he was. But it's hard for him because he's not playing regularly. So it's hard for him to get back in that rhythm. And unfortunately, as much as I love Ollie Skipp, I think even right now he's a very good player. But with the options we currently have, I don't see him, unless injuries, give him a spot. I don't see him getting regular game time right now. And he's going to need that regular game time to get back up to speed to the level he was at.
You're seeing a lot of rustiness in his game at the moment. That's the problem.
So I feel bad for him, but I think a loan deal would probably do him the world of good. Get him a year on loan, and then he'll come back to Spurs ready to really take his chance in the first team.
The problem is that's what we said after his Norwich loan. He had an amazing Norwich loan. He came back and he played really well for the most part. He was a key cog to that team before he got injured, and then since he's got injured, we've brought in new midfielders to the squad that are better than him, and it looks like he might need to further his development. But I only want to see him go on loan to another Premier League team.
I don't want him to. I don't want to sell him. Definitely not. I really believe in his future. I just think right now, only because of his injury, he had that bad injury. I think it's held him back quite a bit. So I think he just needs that loan just to get that regular game time again. Mm-hmm. So that's what I feel for him.
Yeah, I feel the same. Ollie Skipp on loan. Next up is going to be Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. And I think this one's pretty an easy one. Keep.
Yeah, simple. I think he's been good this season. I think his performances have dipped a bit post World Cup, but I think he's starting to get back to the levels he was at right at the beginning of the season. He was one of the best centre mids in the league, in my opinion, for a short period. Starting to get regular goals and assists. So I think he's doing a really good job for us. So I'll keep him.
Yeah, absolutely spot on. But I would like to see him improve those performances since the World Cup. But I'm sure that will come. Next up is Davinson Sanchez, and I think we all know what we're going to do here: sell, 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 sell.
To anyone who would buy him. Well, to be fair, in the summer we were happy for him to be on the bench, but because he had some good performances late on in the season last season. But I think this season, whenever he stepped in, hasn't been as good as he was, hasn't been as consistent, and again, I don't think he's ever going to be the player we need him to be. So sell.
Yeah, Davinson Sanchez on sell. Next up is going to be Heung-min Son. Obviously keep. Hasn't had the greatest of seasons. But, not only we know what a good player he is, but the revenue he brings his football club as well is second to none. I want this guy to stay till the end of his career. And I'm pretty sure, I'm like 99.9% sure that he's going to get back to his best.
Is there an argument to say he is 30, and if his form doesn't improve to get back to his best like this season, and we do get a big offer in the summer, is there an argument to say we should sell?
Some people, there's definitely an argument. You can make an argument for it, but in my opinion, I completely disagree, because I think we've seen him go through dry patches before. He always answers his critics, and I'm sure it's going to be no different. I don't think he's lost pace. I just think he's kind of struggling with a bit of confidence at the moment, and once that comes back, we'll see the real Sonny again.
Yeah, I agree. I need to believe that, because I love Sonny so much. I have to believe that he's still got a lot to offer, and I do believe it. But with the kind of player he is, with the age he's at, and if his form doesn't markedly improve from this season, I mean, I do believe there is an argument to say if we did get a big offer and we had the chance to maybe sign sign a different player, then it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. But if he does get back to his best this season, then you have to keep him, because he's just world class.
He will get back to his best. I'm pretty certain of it. And I wouldn't want to see us get rid of Son and replace him with like Zaha, you know what I mean? Same age, and just Sonny's just like levels above, in my opinion.
Or about if, like, we could replace him like Kavicha?
You might be able to twist my arms, to be honest, with that, just because of the longevity we would have. But ideally, I'd like to have both of them in the squad. That's the honest truth. But look, for now, we're keeping Sonny, and hopefully that's going to be the case for the next few seasons. Next up is Richarlison. We've only just bought him. Hasn't really hit the heights that we've expected so far, but he has to go and keep. Yeah.
I think he's come under a bit of stick because he hasn't quite hit the ground running at Tottenham, albeit I still think he's been pretty good since he's come. He hasn't played in his favourite position. He's had two poor bad injuries as well, so he just hasn't quite got going just yet. He's only scored in one game, but I do believe has put in a number of good performances and good cameo performances as well, and I do believe he's still going to be a very good player for us. So yeah.
I expected more from him, to be honest, so far. I think that I definitely expected more goals from him. Not one Premier League goal to show for his work as of yet, albeit he isn't playing in his right position. I definitely take that into account, but I definitely see something there where we can get excited for the future. I like his attitude and application on the pitch. He just needs to improve his productivity, in my opinion. So Richarlison's definitely in keep. Next up is going to be Harry Kane. And with Harry Kane, I think we all know what we're doing. It's keep.
Again, 100% keep. And look, and he's been, unlike the difference between him and Son, when I say there's an argument to sell Son, Kane has been phenomenal this season. He's got 15 goals in the Premier League already, which is 2 away from his total of last season. I really believe he's playing at a very, very good level right now under Antonio Conte. But again, if he doesn't sign, if he's committed to not signing a new deal, like, what do we do? Do we sell in the summer? Like, because then he's got 1 year left. He has to sign that contract, and that's the awkward thing about this. And obviously, it's tied to Conte and it's tied to a lot of other things. But if let's say for example, hypothetically, Conte has decided not to stay, and Kane then says in the summer, "Or I'm not signing a contract." What do we do? Do we sell him?
Depends how much we can get for him. How much do you reckon we can get for him?
With 1 year left, only because he's so good. I don't think it's under 50. Obviously, I don't know if we're going to get anywhere near the 100 we'd want.
No.
With 1 year left. So I think
how old will he be? How old is he?
He'll be 30 in the summer. So I'm still.
I think you're looking at around 60 million, something like that.
60. I think he's something like that. Let's say a club comes in off of 60 million. Do we accept?
Me personally, I'm saying no. Because I think that 60 million will pay itself back probably throughout the season with what he can bring us, because you're not bringing in anyone anywhere close to Harry Kane's quality.
But if it's the Kane that start the season under Nuno, you know what I mean?
Then I think you have to revisit it in January and probably take 30 million or something like that. But look, Spurs without Harry Kane is like literally nothing. We're so toothless without Harry Kane. You can't even rest Kane in a game against Portsmouth. You know what I mean?
Oh, if we sell him for 60 and buy like Lautaro for 90 or something. You know what I mean?
I just don't want to sell Kane. And I'd rather just let his contract run till the end, to be honest.
This is the awkward position we're in with him right now, though, isn't it? It's a bit awkward. 18 months left. Let's hope we can convince him to sign that contract and these questions can go away. And I'm sure Spurs are confident they can get him to sign, but
that's the news.
But if I'm Kane, we're not in any rush to sign a contract.
No chance. Mm-hmm. Look, I think regardless of that kind of stuff, here and now, Conte is at the club. It's very likely if Conte stays, then Kane will sign that contract. And if all of those things fall into place, it's an obvious keep. Mm-hmm. But if they don't fall into place, then the question needs to be had.
All right, keep.
Next up is going to be Brian Hill. This is going to be a very interesting one. Had a nice few games the last few weeks. Hasn't really pulled up any trees before that. Obviously, physically, the questions are asked in terms of the Premier League football. I really like what he brings to the team. I really like the quality he has on the ball. It's just the physicality which is the main question. He's obviously been speaking in the last few days about trying to improve his physicality. I think with the state the squad is now, a definitely keep from now until the end of the season. Next season is going to be interesting. It depends who we bring in, and it depends... If we do bring in another attacker, it could be a loan job, but I think I'll side with keep.
I think I would loan him because I know he's done a decent job last game against
But you loan,
Palace.
Is this a January loan or a summer loan?
I mean, obviously, if we have to sign someone, for sure. If we don't sign anyone, I'll keep him. But on the basis that I want us to sign someone, and hopefully that apparently we're looking for someone to bring in, I'll loan him out again to get more regular game time. I still think he needs to be a bit more effective in the final third. I know we got an assist against Palace, and that was really good, and that was the start of something, but still only the start. And I do believe still he's got a lot of growing up to do, albeit the awkward thing is I think it just comes with game time. I think that's the difference. And at the moment with Tottenham, he's only getting game time when he has to wait for Kulusevski and Richarlison to both be injured to get a look in, and then he's had he's had one good performance. His performance off the bench have been decent as well, but I think I would loan him just because I think if he gets regular game time somewhere else, he comes back, I think, a better player. But he has to get that game time. No point sending him somewhere where he's going on the bench as well. I'd
accept a loan move, but again, not a loan move out to Spain. We know what he can do in Spain. We've seen what he can do in Spain in a much less physical league. I want him to go to a physical league. Even the Championship would do in terms of the physicality, but I think it has to be an England, a Championship or a Premier League loan. I don't think a Spanish loan will do anything for him.
Fair enough. Next
up, Emerson Royale. Sell.
Yeah, get him out. Get him out. Sell Emerson now. As soon as possible. Apparently, from what Ali Gold said, Spurs are open for him to leaving, but he doesn't want to go.
Yeah, he's chaining himself to the goalpost at Hotspur Way. That's the rumours.
And I feel for him because, he came in, he's got some Brazilian friends here. He gave up on his move of a lifetime to Barcelona to move to Tottenham. And I understand if he doesn't want to give up on that after a year, but at the end of the day, he's not what we need.
Look, if Barca can push him out the door, surely we can push him out the door. So let's hope that deal can get done at some point very soon. Next up is Ivan Perisic. This is also a difficult one because next season, be 34 years of age. Destiny Udogie is coming in next season. I think he's done really well, Perisic, to be honest. But I'll say keep till the end of next season. Probably just let him run till the end of his contract.
Yeah, he signed a 2-year deal. I honestly think he's done pretty good since he's come in from a going offensive point of view anyway. So I don't see many signs of him slowing down right now, considering the fact that he had a good World Cup as well. I'd obviously, at his age, he is coming to the end, but I still think he's a good player. So I'll keep him.
All right, Ivan Perisic goes into keep. Who is up next? We've got Eric Dyer. Eric Dyer, I'm going to go bench.
I'm torn between bench and sell. I think he's good enough to be on the bench.
Yeah.
I think the only problem with Dyer, as I've said before a few times, it's when we rely on him every week in, week out to be our main defender. I don't think he's up to that, that consistency. But if he's coming in for 10, 15 games a season, I think he's good enough to fill in those games. But it's when he's literally playing 38, 50 games a season, and then obviously some mistakes creep in, and that's what we've seen.
I think if we bring in another central centre-back that's better than him, to have him and this new centre-back that we have, I think will be more than adequate to go into next season with. Obviously, we're not going to be getting that player in January, so it's a summer job, but I'm happy to keep Dyer on the bench, as much as that opinion might be clowned upon, because a lot of people just want him gone ASAP. But I think people kind of look at all the bad stuff he does and not really look at maybe the good performances he does put in. He had a really good season last year. Mistakes have started to creep into his game again this season. So I think bench is good for me.
Yeah, I'll put him on the bench.
Next up is Cuti Romero. Our best centre-back. He's obviously going to be keep. And look, we just need more centre-backs of his ilk.
If only we had 3 Romeros, that's
exactly.
what I'm saying. But yeah, definitely keep him. Brilliant player.
Next up, we have Ryan Sessegnon. We've said keep for Perisic. We've got Destiny Udogie coming in. Yeah. He is still very young, Ryan Sessegnon. So I'm thinking it's a toss-up between, there's 3. Loan, bench or sell.
I'm selling him. Honestly, I'm selling him. We've given him so many opportunities now, in my opinion. He's had runs of games and stuff. He's had periods where he's played well, but even in the games where he's played well, he's never been outstanding. He's just been good. Haven't seen anything yet from Sessegnon to suggest that he's going to be a top wing back. I think maybe you could say he's shown he could be a good wing back, but I still think he suffers too much from confidence issues.
And injuries as well.
100%, that's true. And I think he doesn't perform consistently enough to suggest for me that we should keep him on. And I think I'd rather have Udogie and Perisic next season rather than keep Sessegnon.
Then Udogie, Perisic and Sessegnon.
yeah, basically.
All right, fair enough. I'll agree with you on that one. Ryan Sessegnon, sell. Next up, we have got Dejan Kulusevski, our ginger from Sweden, and this is an easy one. Keep.
Yeah. Sign, I would say, isn't it?
Yeah, I think
technically he's not signed yet.
Yeah, I think that will happen pretty soon, but it's obviously a keep.
A massive keep. Yeah.
Dejan Kulusevski, Jed Spence. I think it's got to be loan, to be honest. I think with Jed Spence, he's not getting a look in at all. Conte doesn't trust him. And I don't want to see him gone, because I really believe in Jed Spence. So I think a loan to another Premier League club where there is a lot of interest we're hearing at the moment. So I think a loan makes sense for everyone.
Yeah, I think he needs his confidence back, and I think he needs to prove. Look, for one reason or another, and I've made my stance clear that I'm a bit frustrated that he hasn't got a chance at all under Conte. But I think he needs to prove to Conte that he can perform at this level. That's always the big question mark, and I don't think going back on loan to the Championship would do that. So he has to get a Premier League loan move, and he has to perform well for 6 months or whatever, and then hopefully he'll come back and Conte will be willing to give him more of a shot.
Yeah.
So I think a loan deal.
100%. Next up, big Japhet Tanganga, which is another interesting one. I mean, we've hardly seen him for the last year, Tanganga, always struggling with injuries. Had a good display, I thought, against Portsmouth, but that was against Portsmouth. Against Brentford, I thought he was poor. And I think it's probably right for us to cut our losses. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing him going on loan, seeing what he can do week in, week out, maybe to another Premier League side or even the Bundesliga or something like that. But I wouldn't be against it if we just cut our losses and sold now.
He hasn't had a loan deal, has he, Tanganga? He hasn't been on loan anywhere. No. So I would be, I'm with you, I'd be open to a loan because we haven't seen him really just have a consistent run of games in a Spurs shirt. So I'd like to see how he would do if he went somewhere in the Premier League or even in Europe and like started performing consistently. And maybe he could come back a much stronger player. But if we got a good offer for him, I think we're better. I think it's probably a good thing to sell and get some money for him.
Yeah, I mean, no thought of bench for Tanganga?
No, I just don't think he's done it when we've had injuries and he's stepped in. I just don't think he's done it. So there's no point, in my opinion.
Agreed. Next up, Lucas Moura. I think this is one of the easier ones. Contract up at the end of the season. I'm not interested in renewing his contract. Good servant to the club, but it's got to be sell. I think he's past his sell-by date now.
I think so. So I hope not anyway, because we need to sell him. So I hope it's not past his sell-by date. But
we don't need to sell him because his contract's up at the end of the season.
Yeah, I just feel like he's not been performing well for a long time. I think he used to be a decent player, like off the bench, or like he can come in for a few games and do well, but he stopped doing that now. I can't remember the last time he had a good game. So I think, and at his age as well, he's 30. It's only going one way for him, unfortunately. Lucas had a good time, but didn't really ever become the player we ever hoped he would.
Yeah. Pape Matar, the name on everyone's lips at the moment. I'm starting to fall in love with this guy. I don't want to see him go on loan. I don't want to sell him. I don't think he's right there to start week in, week out just yet. So I'd probably say bench.
I'm liking the look of him, I have to say. I think he's now ahead of the pecking order with Skip. So that's why I've said, when I'm saying with Skip and him, I'm putting Skip out on loan to regain that confidence. But with Sarr, I'm liking what I'm seeing with him in these cameo performances and the start against Portsmouth. And I mean, I wouldn't mind totally with a loan deal, but I think for now, keep him on the bench and have him come in. And I think he's done well when he's come in.
Yeah, absolutely. Next up is Rodrigo Bentancur, probably our best performer this season. A stellar World Cup for Uruguay as well. Absolutely top talent who's taken it up another notch this season from last season where we were already impressed with him. So this is a big fat keep. Yeah,
brilliant. Being one of the best midfielders in the Premier League for the last few months, in my opinion. He's been playing at that high level. Really such a shame he got an injury at the World Cup, but the sooner we get him back, the better. We need him, so massive keep.
Ben Davis up next. What do you think about Ben Davis? This is a difficult one.
He's been here so long now, Ben Davis, so it's like important. It's good to have that loyalty in a player that's been a servant. But for
sell or bench? It's got to be sell or bench.
Yeah. I would sell.
Sell.
I would sell. I love him, but I think he's done good under Conte. I really do, but and I like him. But
when you look at it, right, with Ben Davis, like he can step in from the bench and he can step in as a squad member really well, and I'm happy to have him as a squad member. To be honest, it's when we're relying on him every single week to start at that left centre back role when it becomes a problem for me. I think having him stepping in from the bench is not a problem. And if we were to bring in a left-sided centre-back that was, the required quality, to have him as backup, I don't think that's a problem. Otherwise, we need to bring in two.
Well, or sign Longley.
Or sign
Longley. That's the thing. I'm going back and forth. I'm choosing, do I want to...
I prefer to keep Longley than Davis.
Exactly. Would I rather bench Davis or bench Longley? Because we have to sign one. But
the thing is, if we sign Longley, then we might not even sign another left centre back, because that means two players coming in as forking out money for. So, I mean, if we had to sign one left centre back, it wouldn't be Longley for me. Probably, I'd probably want to get a new left centre back and probably keep Davis on the bench, because I can't see us signing two. That's the problem.
Right. Yeah, I hear that. I hear what you're saying, because we're probably if we're going to sign Longley, we're probably signing him just to keep with Davis, aren't we? We're not going to sign him to be backup, but that's what I'd rather do, in my opinion. I guess we'll put him on the bench, but then we'll sell it. What were we saying? We're selling Longley.
We are here. He is Clement Longley. So I mean, if we're going to keep Longley, I think has come in and done well, and I actually think he's getting better and better as time goes on. I think there is definitely question marks about his out and out defending and his one-on-one defending. I think he gets bullied sometimes. Personally, I would like to see someone come through the door that's better than Longley.
I think he's better than Davis, in my opinion.
He is better than Davis, but the question is, like I said before, are we really going to sign Longley and sign another left centre back?
I think I forget what we are going to do. I think it's what we want to do. This is what this video is about. And I would rather keep Longley and sell Davis and then bring in another one. That's what we should be doing. I think Longley's been good in general. I don't think he's been perfect. I think he's had some games where, especially at the Newcastle game, he was a bit ragged.
He gets bullied at times.
Sometimes, but so does Davis. You know what I mean? Like, I think when it comes to his passing, I much prefer Longley. Going forward, I think before I preferred Davis, but Longley's starting to show he can do that now. His crossing's improved.
That assist against Brentford was brilliant, wasn't it?
Yeah, a couple of times he did that in the same game. His crossing's starting to get better. So in a perfect world, I think I would bench Longley and sell Davis. That's what I'll do, and obviously sign another one. But because we've benched Davis, I think we have to sell him. I don't know.
Shall we retract and go back to sell Davis and bench Longley?
That's what I would do. I would sell Davis.
All right, rewind, VAR check. We're selling Davis now, and we are going to bench Clement Longley. All right, that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing.
This is what we do. We are.
Next up is Yves Bissouma. Hasn't really started life at Tottenham very well. We heard through our sources that Conte isn't the biggest fan of Bissouma at the moment. Sarr has already shown, in my opinion, more than Bissouma has so far in the whole season. But we all know that there is a big player in there in Bissouma. He's shown it for Brighton on consistent levels over many years. It's probably got to be a bench job.
Yeah, I'll put him on the bench, unfortunately. The big problem for him is when he's been in that double pivot, which we prefer to play, he just still hasn't got to grips with that position yet, which is disappointing. He didn't, and the one good performance we had recently, he didn't play, did he, against Palace? So I like him. I still believe he can be a very big player for us, but right now he's down the pecking order, so he has to be on the bench. I wouldn't tell him though.
And last but not least, Harvey White, 21 years of age, got his Premier League debut coming on off the bench at Selhurst Park in that 4-0 win. And I really like the look of him. His crossing was brilliant when he came on from those corners. And I like Harvey White, but the fact of the matter is I just can't see him breaking into this team.
He's playing him in that false nine, which is interesting, isn't it, recently, Harvey White. And I like his intelligence. He can play centre mid. He's a bit versatile. And he's got a really good left foot. He went on loan, though, didn't he? Was it to Ipswich or Portsmouth?
Portsmouth. This was a couple of years ago now.
Yeah, though. And I didn't pull up any trees. Maybe now if we're on a loan deal, it'll be different. So I think give him a loan deal. I don't see any point him staying in the squad right now. So I guess we could sell him, but how much are we really going to get for him? Probably not that much. You might as well loan him and see if you can get some more money out of it.
Yeah. The fact of the matter is, at 21 years of age, for a player that's playing youth football or under 23 football, I mean, he's getting on a bit for that now.
I guess, yeah.
And he needs to start playing in senior football, and he has to go on a loan to the Championship, and he has to do well. Because when he went to League One 2 years ago now, 2021 season, didn't do well. The times I've seen him in cameos in cup games for us, I really like the look of him. So I don't know why he didn't do well in that loan spell. So I'd like to see him go on loan one more time to the Championship and see what he can do. So I think that is that for keep, loan, bench and sell. So we're selling a lot, we're benching a lot, we're keeping quite a few. I think it was a good mix there.
Yeah, I like it. I like the look of our squad. Obviously, it's a bit of a clear out, but hopefully I don't think we've said to sell anyone who can't be upgraded. So I'm happy with that.
All right, so there you have it. Let us know in the comment section below what you think of our keep, loan, bench, sell, and put yours in the comment section below. Thank you everyone for joining us today. Like, subscribe and comment, and as always, come on you Spurs.